All right, thank you for joining us for another ODDtober edition of Facebook Live here at the Tennessee Aquarium. We today are going to focus, as you can probably tell, since we are focusing literally on the subject of today's discussion, the Panther chameleon. But before we talk about all the many, many weird things that make these reptiles so cool, I should introduce our expert. This is Sarah Webb. Sarah, I always forget. Tell everybody what your title is.
I am the coordinator of programming and enrichment here at the Tennessee Aquarium, and I'm our lead keeper for our Island Life exhibit, where the chameleons hang out.
Awesome. Now we are in kind of a backup area where people don't normally get to see it, but it's nice to get to show people some behind the scenes sort of areas.
Yes.
So where are we exactly?
We are in the backup area for Island Life. So all of the animals that live back here are similar species to ones you'll find on exhibit. And this is where we do breeding sometimes. We have a lot of young ones back here, and keep our population going for the exhibits.
All right. Well, now we've already got comments coming in, and I want to encourage those of you who are watching, please type your questions down below in the comments. I will pass them on as best I can. There may be a little bit limited opportunities because there's so many different things that make Panther chameleons so interesting that we have to cover. So I'll do my best to pass those on, but do type them down, and if we can't get to them now, maybe we can get to them after the stream is over. But to start off with, Sophia Brown says, gasp, oh my goodness, it's so cute. And yes, agreed.
He is. This is Nugget, by the way. If you guys have watched any of our Chameleon Facebook Lives before, you may have seen Nugget previously. He is a young male Panther chameleon.
Now, we should probably talk about really where Panther chameleons can be found. You kind of gave it away a little bit when you talked about where we would normally find these guys in the aquarium, but where are they normally found in the wild?
Sure, these guys are from the island of Madagascar, which is a huge island off the coast of Africa. And there's a lot of different kinds of chameleons, so you find different ones in different areas. There are some that live on the mainland of Africa too, but these guys are from the island of Madagascar.
All right, so since this is an ODDtober themed exhibit or Facebook Live, what are some of the adaptations that make these guys so interesting, both to look at and maybe to work with?
Chameleons are real weirdos in a very lovable way. They're very, very strange. One of my favorite things about them, which you can probably see since you're close right now, is their strange little hands. Their toes are kind of fused, 3 on one side and 2 on the other, and it allows them to get a really good grip on little branches, the way that he's getting a good grip on my fingers there. And each foot is like that, so they're really, really good at climbing. And then, as you can see there, they also use their tail.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, we call that prehensile. You've probably heard of prehensile tail monkeys, but these guys use their tail to hold on. That's really helpful for them when they hunt. They have a crazy way of hunting. They will focus in on their food, and they will shoot their tongue out of their mouth. So their tongue is all kind of smushed up in there right now, but it's twice as long as their body. So if you can imagine laying down on the floor and someone else your size laying down at your feet, and your tongue extending all the way down to that other person's feet, that gives you an idea of how long their tongue is. And it's one of the fastest moving things in the animal kingdom. So they can hold on with that tail, really stretch themselves out, and get really good bang for the buck on the distance of their tongue shooting out.
So you think cheetahs are fast, but boy, if you were to scale it up, a chameleon's tongue would beat a cheetah to the finish line pretty much every day.
Yep. That beats a lot of our own technology as humans as well.
Wow. Now, you mentioned grabbing onto tree branches, and we do actually have another Panther chameleon that we can just kind of briefly show you, just to show how they would be clinging onto that branch. And as you've seen them probably, if you've been to the Island Life gallery here at the Aquarium and the Ocean Journey building, you've probably seen this exact behavior. So it is really cool. And they move they have a very odd form of locomotion too. Can you talk a little bit about the way they move and maybe why they move at the speed they do?
Sure. For the most part, they're pretty slow moving. The tongue is really fast, and that's part of how they get away with that. They don't have to move fast with their body because their tongue is so fast for catching their food. The rest of the time, they choose to stay still, mostly, or move in a very kind of halting way. They'll move kind of back and forth, especially when they're hunting or they see something a little suspicious. And they can afford to be slow like that. That is just going to help them to stay unnoticed. And then when they need to be fast to catch their food, their tongue takes care of that for them.
Now, I have read, and this may just be the internet leading me astray. In all likelihood, it's exactly what it is. But scientists have called that, or people who maybe love chameleons have called that the leaf dance.
Yeah, absolutely. They do look very much like a leaf, kind of blowing back and forth a little bit when they move like that. It's neat.
All right. Now, one of the other things that's already is standing out just because of the comments that we're receiving from people who have watched is the color. So can you talk a little bit about why we're seeing such vivid coloration, and then a little bit about just in general why, if you were to look at, say, one chameleon and then another, why you'd see some pretty distinct differences?
Sure. Male chameleons tend to be really, really brightly colored, and we may actually be able to go around the corner here in a minute and I can show you a female. They tend to be more of a kind of a uniform color. They're really pretty. They're kind of almost a bubblegum pink sometimes, but these are really brightly colored, and that's because as adults they're using their color to communicate more than to hide. So his color, this is a really good, vibrant, normal, healthy color for him. But if he were to get frightened by something, or if he were to notice the other male there, which is something we might see happen, or if he were to see a female, then he's going to change color. So kind of like our facial expression changes depending on how we're feeling, and other humans know how to read that. That's kind of how these guys use their bright colors. And they are all very different. Each one is individual, depending on the part of Madagascar they're from. And just each individual is different from another individual.
Now, we are getting questions, and I kind of expected this, and I'm sure you can probably predict what the question is too, and that's Leah Pike. I'm terrible at names, so I apologize for that. I'm pretty sure I've got Panther Chameleon pronounced correctly, but names I'm probably going to be terrible at. But Leah would like to know, do they change color?
They do. They do change color, as I said, for all those reasons, mostly to communicate. They do use it to hide a little bit too, but more often they're using it to communicate with other chameleons.
All right. Now, would it be the case that if you were to stick Nugget on some gift wrap that was, say, polka dot, that Nugget would then change coloration entirely to just have polka dots?
No, it definitely doesn't work like that. Having never been placed on polka dot paper before, he might get upset with me and turn a different color because he's upset. But it wouldn't be to a polka dot color. They don't have the ability to be kind of like a camera that sees and then mimics those kinds of shapes and patterns.
That is one of those things that I think, like I said, you probably could see it coming just because there's a lot of representation of chameleons in pop culture that kind of lead people astray a little bit.
Absolutely.
All right. Now there have been some good questions coming in through the comments, but do continue to bring those in. Haley Shutter would like to know again, do they change color? So hopefully, Haley, Sarah's response just now. Oh, do you know each other?
I do.
Oh,
Hi,
yeah.
Haley.
So hopefully, Sarah's response just now satisfied your curiosity on that point. But do keep those questions coming. Another feature of chameleons or adaptation of chameleons that is pretty distinctive. And you've kind of seen it going on the entire time, is their movement eyes. So that is really cool. And you mentioned hunting before, and that obviously plays a role in that.
It does. It plays a big role in hunting and keeping them safe. You notice he can watch you moving that camera, and he can watch me and see what I'm up to, all at the same time. The ability to move those eyes completely separately from each other, and then to actually also process that information in their brain and make sense of what they're seeing is really amazing. But when they are hunting, one of the best indications that they're about to shoot their tongue out is you'll usually notice them focus in with their eyes. And that helps them to gauge the distance between them and what they're eating, so they know how far to shoot that tongue out.
Very cool. It never gets old for me when I watch these guys, just to see how the range of motion that they've got on those eyes, not just that they're moving independently, but just how far they can move, because our eyes obviously are a little bit different.
Yeah, and as I said, frequently throughout this, he'll be watching me with one of these eyes. Right now he's looking at me, right at me, and And then with the other eye, he's kind of checking out what you're doing, since we're the two things that are moving and making noise right now.
Now, do they have, have scientists been able to establish the range of their vision? Can they see a full 360, or is it more limited than that? Do you know? And if you don't know, obviously.
I don't know exactly how complete their range of vision is. It's got to be pretty close, though, because you can see he can put them very high up, very far down, and very far each direction.
Yeah, there's nothing more fun to deal with in a live interview than a curveball question like that.
There's going to be some. No one can know everything.
No, and that's, again, I like to bring this up pretty frequently, that when it comes to the aquarium, we get a lot of questions, and I think it's a good philosophy to have, to say, I don't know, but I'll find out, or I just don't know. It's better that than to just start guessing. So, again, Leah or Leia, maybe you can also tell me whether I'm pronouncing it correctly. Just say like Star Wars or not like Star Wars, and I'll know which one it is. But she would also like to know, can they see in the night? So do they have good night vision?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure how good it is at night. These guys definitely are more active during the daytime. They are daytime hunters, so I believe their vision is better during the daytime.
Okay. And then Gene 4 would like to know, how many miles per hour can they shoot their tongues?
That's another really good question. I don't have an exact number for you. I'm real bad at keeping numbers in my head, but I do know that it's akin to the acceleration of jet planes and things like that. It's quite spectacularly fast. So definitely make sure if that's something you're interested in, that you look it up and get that exact number.
I actually have very recently, just because of a video that you and I collaborated on not too recently, looked this up, and the acceleration, so I don't know speed either, but acceleration, and they are different, but the acceleration is the equivalent of a car going 0 to 60 miles an hour in 1/100th of a second. So you figure that the fastest production cars that you can get can do that in about a little less than 3 seconds. So that's 1/300th, or no, even more than that.
You're saying numbers at me.
It's a lot. It's like 300 times as fast as the fastest car. So it's very, 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 very quick.
Yes.
So you mentioned that we have a female around the corner. Can we go and look at her just so we can get kind of a contrast between that vivid coloration of the males?
Absolutely.
How many Panther chameleons do we have here?
Oh gosh, quite a few.
Look at how quick they can move when they want to.
Let's see, let me get some stuff out of the way. Actually, more exciting than the female, I'm ready, if you are, Casey, we can world premiere one of our baby Panther chameleons.
I don't even know why you're asking. Like I wouldn't want to do that.
And he looks extra funny today. I'll bring him back over there so we can get better light on him.
Sure.
Him or her, we actually don't know yet. But he or she shed today. So she's got a hilarious little schnuggie on her nose of shed skin. So this little one hatched out, gosh, August? I really want to get that off your nose. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Look how small. Ellen Duncan says beautiful. I agree.
Just a few months old, and again, no one has seen this little one yet, so you all are the first to see. And this one's father is Casanova, who is our Panther chameleon. He's on exhibit. So if you come and visit, you'll be able to see. This one's dad.
And Casanova is Casanova the one who has that kind of beautiful, very blue and green coloration? Are they more pronounced on him?
I think so, yeah. And he's definitely a ladies' man, which is how he got his name and how we wound up with this little one here. So chameleon babies are really, really, really delicate. We're lucky to have had this guy make it as long as he has, and we're very excited. Again, I keep calling it him or her, but we don't know yet.
So no one has asked, but I'm sure people would probably like to know how large a clutch size, so how many eggs can they have at once?
It can be quite large. They could have 20, 30, even 40 eggs at a time. And again, they're very delicate, so a lot of them don't always make it.
And now, is this the species, I'm having to kind of dredge up the memory of our past conversations, is this the species who has kind of a really interesting way of burying the eggs and with some tricks involved, which is appropriate since we're talking about ODDtober and tricks and treats?
Yeah, since she's so delicate, I'm going to go ahead and put him Yeah, they lay their eggs underground, which is crazy. So the females actually have to climb down from wherever they're at. They have much sharper claws than the males do, and they dig. And they dig a pretty formidable tunnel underground. And our female, here, let me get some stuff out of the way here so you can see her. This is the mother of the little guy I just showed you. She's right there.
So this is Mama.
Yes, hi little girl. I can actually open this up so you can see. Yeah, this is Mama. You can see kind of a pinkish color and a little bit of green in the face, and she's like, nope, you can't see me. Actually, I am stealth chameleon. No chameleon here. But you can actually, she's actually showing you really nicely her long claws.
I don't want to stress her out.
Yeah,
but
they're really good for digging. So she is really sneaky, and she will dig false holes for me to find. So she'll bury the eggs and cover them up, and then dig a really obvious hole someplace else, so that when I go looking for eggs, I have to look through everything to find them.
Well, we should probably point out that you've got kind of a unique setup here specifically for this purpose.
Yes, she has a very large bin of very deep. This is a combination of sand and peat moss, and we have to keep it at a certain moisture level. So they're very, very picky. Very, very picky.
I think my favorite part about this is that you can just see her eye kind of poking up above. Like, she's got her eye on us very clearly.
She's giving you a major side eye there.
How cool. So is there a reason for the difference in coloration just beyond males in general being more colorful in the animal kingdom?
It's hard to know 100% with things like that. The theories that I know that make most sense are that the males are obviously using their color partially to attract females. And the females are a lot more vulnerable, having to go down on the ground, lay their eggs, dig around. And obviously they're very valuable too, carrying those eggs. So I think the females are just a little bit more inconspicuous, while the males are out there trying to attract the attention of the females and let the other males know to back off from their territory.
Now there are plenty of people who keep reptiles as pets.
Mm-hmm.
Are panther chameleons among those that are kept in captivity in human care?
They are. I personally, I literally get paid to take care of chameleons, and otherwise, you wouldn't talk me into having one in my in my house, because they are so delicate, and they're really not a beginner animal. I would really only recommend them for a very, very, very advanced reptile keeper, someone who's very experienced, and of course, always you want to do a lot of research about where the animal is coming from. Chameleons being taken from Madagascar is definitely a problem, so you want to know where the animals are coming from.
Well, so you can come and see, get your fill on panther chameleons here at the Tennessee Aquarium.
Trust me, you want to let us do the work for you. They're a handful.
All right. Well, seeing as there are no more questions that have come in, I'm just going to assume that everybody's curiosity has either been satisfied, or they, like our female panther chameleon, are just kind of playing coy and trying to hide from us today. But Sarah, thank you so much for taking the time to introduce us to the wild, wonderful world of panther chameleons. They are really one of the coolest looking, and honestly, the more you learn about them, I think the cooler they become just in general species here.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
All right, well, to those of you who have joined us here on this ODDtober edition of Facebook Live, thank you so much for tuning in. We will be back on Friday at 3:30 p.m. to talk about another species, and it glows in the dark. So more details on that will be forthcoming. Keep an eye on our Facebook page, and you'll get all the details about the where and the when and the what. And we will see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.